Welcome to the Nintendo Wiretap. My name is Amiibo Jason, and on today's episode, we're taking a look at things ranging from Happy Meal toys to Sonic the Hedgehog going to space. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the biggest Nintendo news stories of the day. Alright folks, coming in at number 1 today, we have a look at a brand new Pokemon-themed Happy Meal toy. And do you know that I'm all about these things? I mean, you get a toy, you get a delicious meal. I mean, what could be better? Now, back when I was a wee little Amiibo Jason, just a small boy, I was obsessed with Pokemon, and I was obsessed with Pokemon toys. So, back when I was a kid, Burger King had these absolutely amazing Pokemon toys that you could pick up. It came in a Pokeball, and they had a whole bunch of these things. Not quite 151 different toys, but they had a lot. And now it seems like every other month or so, we're getting another fast food restaurant with another Pokemon-themed toy. This time it looks like it's another McDonald's toy, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like these toys are anywhere near as cool as the ones we've seen in the past. Now, this news comes from Twitter user Unicorn Shizzle, I hope I'm saying that right, and in the image we can see what appears to be brand new Pokemon-themed toys. And on top of that, if you're into Hello Kitty, it looks like it's going to be a double pack, so you get either a Hello Kitty toy or a Pokemon toy, which it's going to be hard to pick depending on what kind of things you like. But it appears the Pokemon-themed toys are pretty much what appears to be a disc in a different colored Pokeball. I'm not sure what exactly these things do, but they're not so much toys as, well, I don't know. I really don't know what to call these things. Maybe the disc gets spun inside of it? Maybe it flies out of it? I have no idea. But it kind of baffles me because we have Pokemon Sword and Shield coming out very, very soon with a whole bunch of brand new Pokemon that could potentially be awesome Happy Meal toys. But instead, we get Pikachu, yet again, Eevee. For some reason, there is a Onix in here too. I mean, it's kind of a mishmash of Pokemon, and it's not the greatest toy I've ever seen, but maybe if you're 6 years old and you like Pokemon, this might keep you entertained for 30 to 45 seconds. You never know. Now, if you Pokemaniacs are in the mood to pick up one of these things, it should be out pretty soon. In fact, it's the next Happy Meal that's coming out. But for my money, I would stick to the Hello Kitty toys. They look a lot cooler. Alright, we're moving into story number 2, and this one is a bit stranger than stories we typically cover. Sonic the Hedgehog is heading to space. Not in a game, for real. He's really going to space. So many of Sonic the Hedgehog's games end up with Sonic blasting off into space, usually to fight a giant robot or an alien creature, something like that. But now it's not a game, this is really happening. Sonic is heading to space, and it's a little bit more scientific than you would imagine. So it's called the JUICE, the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer. It's currently under construction at the European Space Agency, and it also happens to be getting parts from a university in Japan called Tohoku. Now, according to the European staff behind this project, Sonic is going to be appearing on, apparently, something called a radio and plasma wave investigation device as part of its logo. Sega agreed and said the logo now includes classic Sonic, a lightning bolt, and a depiction of the Explorer. Now, the entire point of this Explorer and the mission is in hopes of finding any kinds of bodies of water that may be lying beneath any one of the icy surfaces on the 2 moons of Jupiter. Now, this Explorer is currently set to launch in 2022 and should be in Jupiter's orbit around 2029. That's a long way away, 10 years in fact. Just imagine how many Sonic games are going to disappoint you in the time it's traveling to its final destination. Godspeed, Sonic. Godspeed. Alright, speaking of Sonic, we actually have some new information about brand new Sega Ages games coming to the Nintendo Switch on October 17th. Now, 2 more Sega Ages games are almost here, and this time around it's all about putting your brains to the test with puzzles, and of course, more puzzles. The first one is Columns 2. It's the sequel to the familiar Match 3 classic. I've never really been a fan of Columns. It was always, to me, kind of like the poor man's Tetris, but I know a lot of people do like Columns, and a lot of games were definitely inspired by this one. Now, the second game is called Itchy Dent R, and on the other hand, this is more of a collection of mini-games built to tease your brain. Now, if you want to pick either of these games up, like I said before, they're coming out on October 17th for $7.99 each. A bit expensive, at least in my opinion, but if you're a puzzle game fan and you like mini games, this one might be for you. Alright, coming up next today, we have some news on the Goose Game, and it's officially the #1 game on the US eShop. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm a massive fan of Goose Game. I've been playing it now for about a week. I think it's one of the best games I've seen in a while, and there's something just magical about being a jerk goose, and I never knew that this kind of game would be appealing to me. But now that this game is #1 on the US eShop, I'm really curious to see what other games might come out that are inspired by this goosey goodness. Now, if for some reason you're not familiar with the Goose Game, well, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, it's a simple indie game tasking you to be the worst creature to inhabit the face of the earth, and it really is just a lot of fun. You're a goose, you steal things from people, you make their lives miserable, you make them fall down, you even at one point have to steal a poor kid's glasses. But for some reason, this game has completely stolen my heart, and not just mine, it really has taken over the world. And think of this, a game about a goose took over a very popular game called The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and not only that, it also topped Dragon Quest XI, which just came out too. So, Goose Game, #1, congratulations to you, and #2, I hope to see a lot more of this goose in the near future. Now, I'm really curious, have you guys played Goose Game? What do you think of it? Let me know your thoughts on this amazing game in the comments down below. Alright, next story today, we have Monolith Soft celebrating its 20th anniversary with a special illustration. Monolith Soft, the developer of the Xenoblade franchise and the assistant dev to Breath of the Wild and other Nintendo greats, celebrated its whopping 20 years in the video game business this week with a commemorative post on its website, complete with a brand new illustration showing a lot of its amazing characters. Now, I would say a good half of these feature Xenoblade characters. It has Shulk, Elma, Rex, and all their friends too. But some of their older and lesser-known projects are here too, featuring everything from Baten Kaitos and Disaster Day of Crisis, even Project X Zone. And of course, how can I forget Xenosaga? Now, if you want the full-size illustration, now, if you're a fan of any of these games, this might actually be one of the best wallpapers you can pick up for your phone. If you're looking for the high-res version of this artwork, we have it in the description down below. I definitely recommend you pick this one up. Alright, next up, we do have some information about a game that's coming out next month, and that's Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. We're lucky enough to have this game a full month in advance, and we're in the process of putting our thoughts together on this game. So, we've actually put together our first impressions of this game. You can find a link to it in the description down below. Spoiler alert, so far we're having a lot of fun with this game. We have some video footage of this game as well if you want to check that out. I have links to all of that in the description down below. But if you want to read our thoughts on this upcoming game, I definitely recommend you check this one out. Now, besides that, we have two other things to show off today with Nintendo Wire. #1, we have a brand new episode of Custom Conquest that just came out yesterday, and we reimagine what the wedding amiibo would look like if it wasn't Mario and Peach, but instead Luigi and Daisy. This one is definitely worth your watch, so if you are a fan of amiibo or customizing or just fun in general, I recommend you click that link in the description below or click on the annotation above my head right now. Alright, and finally, one other really quick piece of news. I mentioned this yesterday that we are actually going to be starting a brand new podcast up. Well, the very first episode is out. It features myself and Hero TJ from Custom Conquest, and we're going to be recording every single week. If you want to check out our very first episode, #1, you can find it on iTunes by just searching for Nintendo Wire or Nintendo Wirecast, or you can click the link in the description down below, head over to nintendowire.com and listen to our first episode there. We are going to be putting the episodes up on YouTube as well. It's going to take some time to get these things edited, so expect that sometime this weekend. But boy oh boy, I think that's going to do it for today's episode of the Nintendo Wiretap. It's been a pretty slow Nintendo news week, but we did have some pretty fun stories. We should expect another episode coming out tomorrow and a weekend wrap-up on Saturday as well. Once again, I really appreciate you spending the time and watching the Wiretap. And if you like what you saw, consider hitting that like button, and if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing to us for more Nintendo news. In fact, we are very close to 100,000 subscribers. I think we just crossed the 94,000 mark, so we should be there pretty soon with your help. Thanks again for tuning in, and as always, until next time, stay wired in. Bye, guys.